Great to see so many faces. We are here from Raptor, the personalization tool of the group, as you probably have noticed by now. And for the next 30 minutes, we will show you how to use our tool to do personalization in a cross-channel perspective and how to optimize performance in different channels. And my name is Simone, and I have been with Raptor for almost 4 years, working with our partnership since the beginning.
Yeah, my name is Jan, and even though I'm wearing a jacket and a blue shirt, I'm very much a product guy, and founded the company way back.
Yeah, so actually since 2013, we have been working with recommendations, personalization, understanding and connecting different data types and behavior on the website. Today we will jump into a demo because I know that all of you probably would love to see the product, and that's also what has been asked from us. But before we go into demo mode, let's just get a few things straight. Everything we do is about reaching the right people at the right time with the right message. So connecting touch points and understanding when do you want to target persons, what do you need to target them with, and who do you actually want to reach out to make sure that you use your marketing spend and your resources on the right people. We do that by connecting customer data through our customer data platform. And many of you have probably heard a lot about customer data platforms, CDPs. It has become a buzzword and a quite used term in the marketing technology landscape. And there is indeed a lot of different varieties of CDPs out there in the market. But if you look to CDP Institute, they have a definition saying that a customer data platform is a platform where you can ingest data from any source, customer data that is relevant to understand who are your customers and how are they behaving, and a platform that you can activate in any channel. So a platform agnostic tool where you can connect your own media and your paid media. And that's also the definition of our tool. So even though we move closer together in the Quantum group and even closer with Ibexa and Quabble right now, we will still be agnostic, and there will still be possibilities to also connect to other platforms, because that is the nature of a customer data platform. What we do in the middle is that we consolidate and we analyze all the data to build up a complete profile of each individual user. So we do that by combining transactional data, CRM data, data from Qualifio, data from surveys, manual data that you have collected at some point that is laying somewhere but that is not being taken into use. And we also do AI calculations. So based on all the data, we enrich the profiles with calculations that can give an even more full picture of who your clients actually are, or who your end clients are. And this can be done on individual level, but in a B2B setting, we also do it on account level. So even though we are talking a lot about transactions and individual users, all this can also be thought over to an account setting, and transaction can also be a conversion. It can also be focusing on views or clicks on a website. So it doesn't necessarily have to be an individual person, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a transaction as we know it from the e-commerce world. When working with personalization, it's advised to have a use case mindset, because there's a lot of things you can do, and in the end, everyone is also interested in understanding, did it actually work? So we always recommend, think about who you want to target, why you want to target them with, what you want to target, and also in what channel you want to. So trying to nail it down and thinking about some very individual or specific use cases that can bring value. And most importantly, focus on the goals. There is a lot of things you can achieve with personalization. You can overall improve the customer experience. You can increase conversion. You get a lot of insight about your clients. You can do churn prevention. But I think, as with everything else, if you try to do 100 things at the same time, you probably won't succeed with any of it. So doing it step by step, having specific goals, and always have the use cases as a natural mindset. Let's take an example. Here we have a company, Outdoor Gear by Repta. They sell equipment for outdoor activities, such as winter sport, water sports, ski, paddle, windsurfing. They sell their products online on this web shop, but they also have physical stores, mainly in Germany. So they have a cross-channel setup where they have knowledge about their clients in different channels. They already work with some kind of personalization. They have some product recommendations here, a generic product recommendation module, and they also have personal recommendations, which is also powered up by our engine, and where the data that is behind here is a combination of the online and offline transactional data, but also all the behavior that is on the website. But this company, they want to do a little bit more. So we looked into 2 different use cases. First one is, in this case, it's a marketing manager who wants to identify persons who are interested in winter sport and target them a relevant message to increase the conversion rate. So here we have a very specific use case where we want to look into what is the interest of this person to be able to target them with a relevant product, a relevant piece of content. And it could be on the website, it could be in email, or it could be in a paid media setup. The other use case is, in this case, a chief revenue officer who wants to target high-value customers in risk of churning to extend their customer lifetime value. And I think this is something that most companies are interested in, even no matter if you're working with a B2C or a B2B setup. But if your clients could just purchase one more time or just visit one more time, just add a little bit more revenue into your company. And if you could do that across all your clients, or at least on the high value ones, then there is a lot of revenue gained there. But let's get to it. Let's see how we will actually solve these use cases directly in the platform. And while Jan is loading things up here, I can also tell you that this is a demo web shop that we have. And as a partner, you can actually get access to the control panel and to the demo web shop, so you can also try to play around with it yourself.
Yeah, let's open up the hood and see how...
It's not
up on the screen now.
Can...
Okay. I think we need some...
Can we get some assistance on how to get the right thing on the screen? Oh!
I think it's so simple.
Perfect.
But then I can't see it, right?
Just
we need to duplicate.
Can you see it? Yeah, so maybe while we're getting things up and running, the first thing that we will jump into is the data manager, which is a built-in ETL tool. And that is the start of everything, because when you want to work with personalization, when you have these use cases defined, then the first thing that you need to understand is what kind of data do I need to achieve what I want to. So if we take one of the use cases as an example, to identify high-value customers, you obviously need to know how much money have they placed in your business. So what do we have of transactions, subscription information, stuff like that that can give an indication of the value of the client.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry for the break. Yes. First and foremost, before starting to orchestrate, we need to set up the system and get the data loaded. So for that, we have an extended tool here called data management, where we can set up implementing tracking from the website and setting up the various data flows. So in this scenario here, I mean, we have, let me just, we have 4 data sources. We have the web tracking data streamed in from the website, and it could be various types of data. It could be page views, it could be add to basket event, it could be click on mail event, it could be purchase data. Essentially, every types of interaction that the user are doing. It doesn't need to be something that are tightly connected to monetary transactions. It could also be consuming users consuming content, for example. Obviously, also person data. It could be data from Coelifio, for example, zero-party data, name, address, geographic location, demographic data, data of preferences given away by the user themselves, and obviously also product data to enrich the, you could say, the orchestration capabilities in the CDP. And then, as Simone mentioned, a lot of the cases we are working on, we see that it's a multi-challenge setup. So the clients, they load data from both the online, obviously, but also the offline. So here we have offline purchases from the shop. When integrating data, I'm pretty sure those of you that work with this kind of setups knows that dirty data and siloed data is a huge problem when working with CDP. So within the CDP, we have some strong capability for transforming and cleansing data, going from, you say, the data scheme from the outside, from the client side, and into the data scheme you have defined within the CDP. So a lot of capability to say, handle all the mishaps that are in the data here. When all that's set up, you also need to define the profile unification, or the stitching of the IDs, and that is, even though it's very technical and not very sexy to look at, it's super important in the CDP, because this is actually what makes it possible for you or for the client to reach and engage with the user in the various channels. Maybe this can give you a little bit of flavor of what it's all about. Here you have the various IDs that are put into the system and stitched together into this, you say, unified profile. And what the user can see here, or the user of the system can see here, is how many of the various items they have, how much the overlap is, and yeah, have in mind this is test data. Normally you will see some kind of growth on these lines here that tells you how the reads will gain over time, so you can get an idea of the number of users you can engage with. Setting up the data management and the data ingest is very much a task not for everyday users. It will be a task for data engineers that will mostly be, task from the partner side to set up this. It's not a one-off. You start with a limited scope maybe, and then you extend and add more sources. From implementation of a partner standpoint, this is really where there's a lot of business for you to build upon this tool. So Simone mentioned 2 use cases, and I think the first one, or just to say here, there's a lot of capabilities to do the orchestration. There's AI tool will we'll dive into that also. The option to build aggregates, but we say the big hammer here is what we call the audience builder. This is where the marketeer in most situations will work and build the profile and the segment and the audiences of the users they want to engage with in the various channels. So let's take the first use case. That was, I think it was users that had strong preferences towards winter sport, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And when you go into the audience builder, you have the options here to build these audiences. And you have like 3 statements here. Users had some interactions or did not have some interactions. They might have some traits, some attributes. That could be something you load from the outside. It could be something you calculate within the CDP. It can be AI-driven attributes. And you can use all these different conditions here to build these statements blocks. For example, in this case, when talking about preference toward winter sport, you might have something where the intent is based on pure visit behavior. Then you might not want to rely on very recent, or you might want to rely on very recent data. So, for example, it could be persons who did view the product from the website at least, let's then say 10 times, 9 times, the last 90 days. Within the product category, this is a taxonomy of the website that contains winter sport. So this statement block here will give you that these persons, you could say.
And just to mention, the parameters here will, of course, be one-to-one with the data that are being ingested. So before starting the implementation process, it's just an empty score with nothing to choose between. We still have the statements, but once the data starts flowing in, that will be the exact same thing that will then be accessible in the audience builder. So in this case, the use cases is of course specified to the outdoor gear by Raptor, but in a completely different type of business, it will be some other parameters that you can choose between.
Yeah, and the data model is completely free. I mean, setting up is a blank canvas. You set up the data model and define the event types and the data sources and so on, completely flexible and free. Being an omni-channel or multi-channel setup here, you always also have offline data that you want to add to this definition of the audience. So you will also add people who did buy in the store from the POS system at least 3 times, and then you will select all times in this case because it's a strong preference if you purchase something. And the temporal logic here is super flexible also for non-technical to build. So it can be based on hourly basis, it can be built on per days, it can be sliding windows, it can be fixed time frames and so on. There's a lot of options here to define the temporal part of the logic. And then the last part here is that you add also the purchase behavior from the web shop with also the filtering of the part of the inventory that you're looking at, in this case, winter sport. And then, like I think Camille showed before lunch, then you have the right panel here where you can see how many persons you can target on the different idents, and that equals in some cases also to channels. So in this case, for example, here you can target the 21,000 email addresses that you can use, for example, for orchestrating in an email marketing system like Actito, or you can even maybe target as much as 150,000 users based on a first-part cookie on the DXP. So you want to activate this. Is not only for inside. This is because you want to target and you want to activate your knowledge about these people in the actual channels. So you go up here and you attach to activation, and then you have the various activations set up on this account. And in this case, you want to activate towards Ibexa. And when you've done that, set that up, or you have added that audience to this activation channel, then the audience definition and the data will start to be synced into the Ibexa DXP, where you can start and build your personalized experience in the DXP.
Yeah, so in the targeting with the page builder, then you will have the audiences that have been sent from the CDP. You will have those available directly in Ibexa, and the same goes for Actito and other activation systems. That usually it's a drop down, and then you just pick the audience there, and then you create the campaigns or whatever you want to use that knowledge for directly in the activation system.
Yes, time flies. We have 9 minutes left, and
yes.
a lot of things to cover. The Audience Insight is a very strong tool for getting an understanding how is the value and the loyalty, you could say, profile of the users within this specific audience. So here, for example, you can see it consists of 5% of the full customer base, whereas it's actually 35% of the aggregated lifetime value. So it's a very valuable audience you have defined here, and what you also can see on these different loyalty metrics here, the predicted repurchase probability is 66% and 50% is in the total population. So they are more loyal. They are not prone to churn as easily as in the general population. They also have a higher predicted lifetime value, as much as 6 times as high. So you can really get an understanding of what is as I said before, the lifetime value profile and the loyalty profile. And then you use that, for example, for hypothesis testing. You can say, give me all persons who purchase only on online channel versus the users purchasing on the physical store. Do they have different profiles in terms of CLV? Then you have this chart here where you can kind of double click, and for example on this segment here you have the very loyal and very valuable clients within the audience of Wintersport. And if you go down here and double click on this, then the system will build a new audience where you have the very loyal, the very valuable users within Wintersport. But I think the use case was a little bit different. It was not about Wintersport, it was in general about churning clients that had a high value, right?
Yes.
Just need to update this new audience. And this system works. Okay, let's move on then. So I'll just clear out these statements here. So
you have the ability to remove statements or to disable blocks to test different hypotheses while you're in the audience builder.
So here we have a clean statement here, and now I'll just change the operator or the operator and put in 20%. So now we have all persons who have predicted alive that are less than 20%, while also have a predicted customer lifetime value that are greater than, let's say, 60,000. So very, very valuable, but users that are prone maybe to be lost. And then let's recalculate that. So here we have only 243 users. That's very small audience, and I mean that in some situations you would say that's too small to work with. But for example, in B2B, where you maybe have clients with accounts of million euros, losing a client like that could be really a problem. And there it might make sense to actually start working with these users, not only on the DXP, and then the multi-channel come into place, because you could also easily activate that into the email marketing. So for example, starting up an automated journey that is about re-engagement and win-back programs. You might want to put it into your CRM system so that you can put in activities for the sales reps so they can call these clients that have a high risk of churning. So also on the activation part, it's multi-channel. You can attach as many activation that you want. There's a lot, obviously there's a rich API, so you can build your own, but there's also pre-built, out-of-the-box activation apps you can use for, let me just show you that, activation, that are pre-built. So for example, the most known activation is available here. HubSpot, all the big DXPs, for example, Meta and Google and so on and so forth. Okay, I think the last thing we have before wrapping up is just want to show you the single customer view, because that is actually kind of what is embodying what a CDP is about, even though it's not very usable in the daily work with a CDP, something that really shows what it's about.
Maybe just one more thing before we move on to that. When we talk about churn prediction, here we're looking a lot again on transactions. But I know that among Abexa clients, there is a lot of media companies that works with content and not products and transactions. And here you can also adjust the AI models so they actually look on views or clicks or the activity on the site. So if you have a client that has a subscription model where obviously it's quite hard to predict churn based on transactions, then we can actually look at views or clicks or other types of events that is relevant.
Yes. So now we're looking up Hilarious here. So that's a specific person within the CDP. So this is quite kind of equal to the CM charts in your CM system. So, but instead of typing in the data that you do in a CM system normally, this is something that are kind of derived out of the CDP, aggregates audience membership, AI-based churn prediction values, and so on. Oh, I think we're okay. We're getting there anyway. So we have the identifiers for this specific user. We have the audience membership for this user. We have the loyalty position in the matrix here. Very loyal, very valuable customers. You have the different metrics. For example, here the repurchase probability, 98% is very loyal. We expect these users to purchase any given time in the future. The value, the full predicted customer value, that is both the historical value combined with the predicted future value. You have, for example, also what we call the inactivity score. That tells you if it's 100, it means that then we expect this user on an average to purchase or engage again. So you might want to use this in the orchestration, in the audience builder, to start programs when you are getting close to that time in the future, because then you can maybe move forward the purchase, or you can even maybe take the purchase from a competitor.
This can also be accessed through an API, so you can do a call center lookup or a lookup in a CRM. For instance, to see in a call center or support function, to see what audiences is this person a part of. Is it a gold client, a silver client, a bronze client? Do they actually need to pay for support, or how flexible can we be? So there's a lot of different use cases with this.
Absolutely.
But I think we have 1 minute left.
Yeah, the interaction timeline here. I think you saw it before, where you can get an understanding of the pattern of the interactions the user have. I think the last thing to say here about the single customer view is that it's not that usable. However, it's super interesting to have in a sales pitch, because it's something everybody understands, even C-level can understand this this screenshot here. This is what a CDP is about. It's about the single profile of the users. Then we aggregate that and use that for orchestration, automated orchestration. Yes, I guess that's it.
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah. So back to the presentation. Yeah. So I think me and Jan, we can continue talking about this. We and together with the rest of our colleagues from Raptor will be here until tomorrow afternoon. So feel free to catch us if you have questions or want to dive even more into it. And otherwise, if you want to know more, a small advertisement for our CDP certifications. It's online sessions that we run every second month. We have a commercial one, which is focused on all the commercial sides of it, how to sell a CDP, what are the USPs, how can the end user create value from it. And the other one is a 3-hour session focused on how to implement the CDP. So how to use the data manager, how to ingest data, what to be aware of in an implementation session. So feel free to scan the QR code down here, and otherwise, reach out to us or to your contact at ABEXA, and then you can get the dates for the certifications. But yeah, that was it from our side. I really hope that you learned something new.
Let's go ahead and